You know, eventually what will happen, because very strongly the PDP seems to continue to point accusing fingers at members of the APC, in fact at the party, of being the sponsors of terrorism. There's strong allegations as well.
But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What are they waiting for God's sake, if they know who the sponsors of Boko Haram is? Whether it's in PDP or APC, what are they waiting for to arrest the fellow? I think they just are sick of hearing this. Who was restraining them?
Because if you say that you will know who the genuine Boko Haram members are, there will be an inkling that maybe you do know about them right now.
Listen, I was chief of staff to Bola Ahmed Tinubu between 1999 and 2002. We had the OPC, problem with the Ijos, with Aliwa at different times. We knew who we spoke to. Did that make us part of them?
But would it have been too much for your opposition? You're so concerned about the nation. Would it cost so much for you to handle the negotiations on behalf of the federal government if you say the federal government is incompetent?
If they allow us to do so, but don't forget that as of today, I cannot even go to Chibok without federal government protection. Because Chibok, like parts of, like all parts of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe, is under emergency. Under our constitution today, all that the opposition can do is proffer suggestions. If the government is that desirous, they should approach us, and we'll give them this idea. Of course, we're.
Why wait for them to approach you, seeing that things are not looking rosy by the day? Why don't you put forth the solution and let them turn it down?
Number one, we put forth the solution through different channels, and don't forget that the governors of Yobe, the governors of Borno, and before now, the governor of Adamawa, were all members of the APC. And you all forgotten that infamous meeting between the president and the governor of Borno, where the young man honestly said, Boko Haram is better equipped than we are. Boko Haram is better motivated than we are. What was the reaction of federal government? It was pilloried. Only for the same federal government to come back a few months later, after several lives have been lost, to say we did need an extra $1 billion to buy equipment and buy ammunition. And you see, we must squarely hold Mr. President and the people responsible for where we are today.
You know, Alhaji, this week you released quite a number of statements. The first was on INEC's permanent voters card distribution, wherein you alleged that INEC seems to have a sinister plan. The second was on, I'm trying to remember what the second was.
That was on the declaration of Mr. President.
The declaration of Mr. President, and a lot of people said that they did not expect any less from. It was saying that you're waiting in the wings for that to happen, but they also faulted your party, saying that the following day, the governor of Edo State was also celebrating 6 years in office, or marking 6 years in office, and all the members of the opposition parties were there as well. What do you have to say about that?
Very simple. There was no massacre in any part of Edo State a day before we went to Edo State to celebrate the 6th anniversary of Edo State, governor being in office. Adams Oshiomhole is not the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic. They are comparing apples with oranges. Now, you see, and this is not the first time Mr. President will show such insensitivity to the situation on ground.
But in the mood, in the spirit of the mood of the nation as at that time, do you think that your party could have shifted that celebration, perhaps to, show some solidarity with the parents and the people of Adamawa State who, Yobe State, who lost children in Patisco?
Did you see the governor of Borno State in any of our functions? Because he's been busy attending and addressing issues of displaced people in the home state. Are you aware that the governor of Borno State gave 10 billion naira to the federal government for this war effort just a few months ago? Are you aware of how much is contributed monthly by the Borno State government to help the army to fight insurgency? The records are there. Let them come out and say it is not true. Now you see, no good advert can sell a bad product. The president is not behaving well in these circumstances. That's what we're saying. If we were in his shoes, we would stay in the villa and address the whole nation and say, look, given the massacre of yesterday, there can't be any ceremony. But I still, from my villa, I'm going to run. And would have won the admiration of all Nigerians, of the entire world. But you don't dance on the graves of these children. But it has come a pattern with Mr. President. Buniyadi. Yanya. And now, you have Mobi, now you have Potiskum. And as we are speaking, Mr. President has not deemed it fit to even go to visit Buniyadi, to visit Chibok, Potiskum, or condole the parents or relations.
Let me comment here because I'm trying to look at this objectively. You know, the APC were to be in government, and you have a security report telling the nation's president, who is also a member of the APC, that such places are not safe for him to visit. Would you still love to see a president go on such trip?
You see, no place should be unsafe for the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And we have examples that are banned everywhere. Even when the battle in Afghanistan was hottest, when the battle in Iraq was hottest, we know that Tony Blair, we know that, Obama, we know that, Bush, all visited their troops. If you don't announce it that you are going there, and in any event, if Mr. President cannot go to any part of Nigeria, then who can go there? You see, a president must not just be a commander-in-chief, he must also be a consoler-in-chief. People must know that this is our leader that we can rely on. He must be able to empathize with the people.
You know, you have been able to manage media affairs for your political party over the years, and being someone who's also been in government when Governor Tinubu was governor here, would you say that the president would have done better if he had maybe people advising him, public affairs experts and media experts in his government? Because as it is now, if you look at what he's done over the years, you really can't fault him and say, well, he doesn't have the well-being of the people at heart. Is it that he's not well represented by people who should do the job?
It's a pity that presidents are not judged by qualities such as whether he's meek, whether he's gentle, whether he's sympathetic, but by the actions or inactions of such president. And what would resonate to the public is the final product. Whether it is his advice, is his own or others, it does not matter, it is the final product. I cannot come here and condemn anybody.
No one has asked you to condemn anybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to look at some of the actions by this government, and you have seen them even recently on the front page of this day. They have it there that the U.S. I really want to get the exact quote, saying U.S. admits it blocked sale of fighter helicopters to Nigeria. We saw the move by this particular administration in its quest to procure more arms for our troops. And if you say we should, boost the morale, equip the troops, and you have seen a move by the government which has been thwarted by maybe the U.S. to the country and the admittance of the United States on the front page of this day. Don't you think that to a large extent they have actually made some effort
I think part of the problems of this government is that it's more of a government in the dark room, and they don't carry Nigerians along. Until the botched 9.3 cash for arms scandal in South Africa came to the open, very few Nigerians even knew what problems this government was having with, say, United States of America. I'm sure that even APC, as critical of this government as it is, will rally behind this government if it knows what the new problems are. But even the Americans blocking the sales of helicopter does not justify the whole government carrying in Ghana must go bags $9.3 million cash to South Africa. It does not.
Let us wrap.